Popular Mechanics Magazine, Volume 99, April 1953, Number 4. In this issue, for the Craftsman, 36-inch model of the SS United States, conclusion, page 179. Soon your scale model of America's mighty $70 million luxury liner, the SS United States, will be completed and under glass for all your friends to admire. In this concluding installment, you will be shown how to make the cargo booms, which are located fore and aft, how to rig the antennas between the stacks, how to fit the many tiny stairways that connect the various decks, how to mount the completed ship on a base, and finally, how to make a protective plastic case for it. A last-minute change by the model makers, who have been building the SS United States for this series of articles, supersedes a detail given previously in Part 4. This pertains to the brass bulwark, which is cemented to the fore end of the aft stack deckhouse. The shape of this bulwark should be changed to coincide with the bulwark shown in detail C. This is given in the drawing at the left. This differs primarily in that it is longer, and thereby extends from railing to railing, which skirts the sun deck and has doorways cut in it at each end. In resuming work, it is assumed that you have all the railings installed as described last month. Next, the aft end of the sports deck below and foredeck stack is fitted with a brass bulwark that is shaped as shown in detail B. In addition to notches formed at the end represent doorways, two other notches for stairways are made in the upper edge of the metal strip. The latter notches are filed down even with the sports deck, and the ends of the strip are bent outward at a 60-degree angle. The strip is painted white after the stairways are attached, and preferably before it is cemented to the end of the sports deck. A smaller strip, Part A, is cemented to the aft end of the sports deck, which supports the aft stack deckhouse. This is practically duplicate of Part C, except that in addition to the doorways at each end, 5 others are represented by cutting small pieces of black paper and cementing them in place as indicated after the strip is painted white. The aft end of both the sun and the sports decks are likewise fitted with black windows and doors in the same manner. Cutting these from paper and cementing them in place make a neater job than trying to paint them. The stairways are stock parts but required. They require soldering of fine wire railings to each side. 20 stairways are needed in all, and their locations can be found by referring to the plan given in Part 1. The photos and details of this page show how the dummy aft and 4 cargo booms are rigged. The king posts can be made either of wood or metal and tapered with a file of sandpaper. Note that these pass through the overhang of the sun deck and enter the promenade deck 3/4 of an inch. The boom fits the king posts about 1/2 inch up from the deck. In the case of the 4 booms and 2 booms of each king post are represented by 5 inches. A length of wire tapered at the ends and inserted through a small hole drilled through the post. Note that the forward ends of the booms rest on the deckhouse, while the aft ends are held to the promenade deck. The bulwark with small eyes formed of wire and inserted in holes of the bulwark. 2 strands of thread represent cables for each boom, and these enter holes in the pulleys only at the top, where they are secured with a drop of household cement. The booms at the aft cargo hoists are rigged similarly, the booms being cemented to the king posts and rigged with thread as shown before. The booms and king posts are painted aluminum, and tiny pulleys are attached with fine wire to the top of the king posts and to the outer ends of the booms. A winch is provided for each boom. 8 are required for these new furnished in a kit, which include all the other fittings needed. The plan view in Part 1 shows that the winches are placed as well as the other deck fittings, such as the capstans, bits, rollers, chocks, and loop antenna. Thread rubbed and beeswax or fine wire is used to represent the 2 antennas, which run from bracket to bracket on each side of the stack. A detail at the bottom of page 180 shows the rigging of the radar tower and how the radio wires are to run from the wheelhouse from a single wire or thread that stretches from the top of the radar tower to the center of the forestack. Nameplates for the ship, which are given on page 182, are actual size, so you can cut them out and glue them to the black hull. Place one on each side of the bow and the other around the end of the stern. In addition to these nameplates, two smaller ones are given for mounting on a railing above the door of the wheelhouse. On the navigating bridge, these are cemented first to thin cardboard, then trimmed to size with a razor blade and cemented to the railing. There are several ways to make a protective case for your model, using either glass or plastic. Perhaps the neatest case is made of sheet plastic, cementing the panels together flush at the edges and letting the completed case rest in a groove routed around the edges of the finished mahogany baseboard. If you prefer a case made of glass, the top panel can be set in a wooden frame, like a picture frame, and glued and screwed to grooved posts at the corner, after which the assembled case is attached to the baseboard with flat-headed wood screws, driven up through the bottom and into the posts. The baseboard should measure about 7.5 inches by 39 inches. The two brass posts which support the model on the baseboard are turned to the shape and given the board lengthwise to take long screws, the heads of which are set in flush and counterboard holes in the underside of the baseboard. A wire flagstaff, 1 inch long, is fitted at the stern and the bow of the model, the stern staff flying a tiny American flag measuring 1/4 inch by 3/8 inch. Full-size patterns for marking the deck, shear, and waterline outlines of the hull, plus actual size carving templates, are given in a set of 2 blueprints. Construction details are given in an additional set of 2 sheets. Construction kits are available which contain the lifeboats, davits, quadruple screws, anchors, stairways, portholes, running lights, whistles, and all the other tiny deck fittings that are needed.